Texas Democrats on the run. FBI involved in political showdown. When elected officials become fugitives from their own government, democracy itself hangs in the balance. And that's exactly what's happening in Texas right now. Texas Senator John Cornyn has made an unprecedented move by formally requesting FBI assistance to track down and apprehend Democratic lawmakers who have fled their home state. But here's where it gets controversial. These Democrats aren't running from justice. They're running from what they call an attempt to steal democracy itself. The dramatic escape centers around former President Donald Trump's ambitious plan to redraw Texas congressional districts in a way that could secure 5 additional Republican House seats before the 2026 midterm elections. Think about that for a moment. 5 seats that could determine control of the entire U.S. House of Representatives. This high-stakes political chess game escalated dramatically when Texas Democrats made the bold decision to scatter across the country, with many finding sanctuary in Chicago, Illinois. By denying the Texas legislature the minimum number of members needed to conduct business, called a quorum, they've effectively brought the state government to a grinding halt for 2 consecutive days. In his letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, Senator Cornyn argued that federal resources are necessary to locate the out-of-state Texas legislators who are potentially acting in violation of the law. The FBI, however, has remained silent on whether they'll actually deploy agents to hunt down elected officials. But wait, it gets even more intense. Ken Paxton, Texas's Republican Attorney General, who happens to be challenging Cornyn for the Senate seat, has launched what legal experts are calling a long-shot legal maneuver. He's asking a court to declare the seats of these rogue lawmakers completely vacant if they don't return to work by Friday. His harsh words? The people of Texas elected lawmakers, not jet-setting runaways looking for headlines. If you don't show up to work, you get fired. Governor Greg Abbott wasn't content to wait around either. By Tuesday evening, he had filed an emergency petition with the state's highest court, specifically targeting State Representative Jean Wu, who chairs the House Democratic Caucus and has taken refuge in Illinois. Abbott's message was crystal clear. Texas House Democrats abandon their duty to Texans, and there must be consequences. And this is the part most people miss. The Democrats aren't backing down. Speaking from his Chicago hideout, Representative Wu fired back with equal intensity, calling his actions both a moral and constitutional duty. He refused to become what he termed a willing participant in Abbott's efforts to satisfy Trump's demand for additional congressional seats. Denying the governor a quorum was not an abandonment of my office, Wu declared defiantly. It was a fulfillment of my oath. Trump himself, who had remained unusually quiet about the crisis he essentially created, finally broke his silence on Tuesday. When a reporter asked whether the FBI should help track down the Democratic lawmakers, the former president's response was chilling in its simplicity. The agency may have to. He emphasized that you can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about. But here's where Trump's argument gets really controversial. In a revealing CNBC interview, Trump made his case with startling bluntness. We have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats. We have a really good governor, and we have good people in Texas. And I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know, and we are entitled to 5 more seats. Notice that word? Entitled. Trump believes winning an election gives him the right to redraw congressional maps mid-decade. Something that traditionally happens only once every 10 years after the census. Trump didn't stop there, though. He launched into Illinois and California, claiming both states are unfairly gerrymandered against Republicans. In Illinois, what's happened is terrible what they're doing, he complained. And you notice they go to Illinois for safety, but that's all gerrymandered. California is gerrymandered. We should have many more seats in Congress in California. It's all gerrymandered. Here's the thing Trump conveniently ignored. While both parties have used gerrymandering throughout history, recent studies show Republicans have been far more aggressive and successful with this tactic in recent years. California actually tried to solve this problem by creating an independent redistricting commission back in 2010, removing the power from politicians entirely. But now, Governor Gavin Newsom is threatening to abandon that fair system entirely if Texas moves forward with their plan. Newsom's warning carries profound national implications for the balance of power in Washington, essentially threatening to fight fire with fire. By asking California voters to override their independent commission and approve new maps favoring Democrats. Meanwhile, in Illinois, the fleeing Texas Democrats found themselves celebrated as heroes by Governor J.B. Pritzker, who has pledged to protect them from Texas authorities. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin joined the chorus, accusing Republicans of attempting to steal their way to victory. Pritzker has also put everything on the table, including potentially redrawing Illinois' own congressional map to favor Democrats in retaliation. The scene back in Texas resembled something out of a political thriller. When the Texas House reconvened at 1 p.m. local time Tuesday, House Speaker Dustin Burrows, a Republican, solemnly announced, "There being 94 members present, quorum is not present." He revealed that state troopers were actively working to compel their attendance after I signed their civil arrest warrants yesterday. Yes, you read that correctly. Arrest warrants for elected officials. Burrows scheduled the next attempt to reach quorum for Friday, setting up another dramatic showdown. State Representative Gina Hinojosa, speaking from a Chicago suburb where she and her colleagues have established their temporary headquarters, made it clear they're in this for the long haul. As long as we need to stay away and deny quorum on this bill to pass the gerrymandered maps, I will stay away, she declared. But here's the financial reality. Each absent lawmaker faces a $500 per day fine, and Abbott has ordered the Texas Department of Public Safety to locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans. The current special legislative session runs until August 19th, but Abbott has the power to call additional sessions indefinitely. This raises a critical question. How long can the Democrats realistically stay away? Hinojosa seemed unfazed by Republican threats to remove Democratic members from office, calling such actions disrespectful for the Texans who elected them. She noted that many constituents have expressed nothing but gratitude to lawmakers standing up to Trump's pressure. While she acknowledged that the situation has triggered a dangerous redistricting arms race with Democratic states vowing retaliation, Hinojosa insisted it was essential to confront the real, present-day threats posed by gerrymandered congressional maps. Democrats need to fight to win, she stated emphatically. We fight to win for the day, and we take tomorrow as it comes. But is this really unprecedented? Not exactly. Breaking quorum is actually a time-honored minority party tactic in Texas politics. During a similarly contentious mid-decade redistricting battle in 2003, Democrats fled the state to prevent Republicans from approving new congressional maps. Eventually, however, enough members returned to Austin, and a controversial map was adopted anyway. So what makes this time different? The thing that's new now is the sense that there is no other recourse, explained Justin Levitt, a constitutional law professor at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, who specializes in redistricting issues. Levitt pointed to a crucial 2019 Supreme Court decision that ruled federal courts have no power to hear challenges to partisan gerrymandering. Meanwhile, the Republican-controlled Congress has shown zero appetite for defying Trump, even as some Republican members are beginning to fear his Texas gambit could backfire politically. While partisan redistricting isn't technically illegal under the U.S. Constitution, Levitt noted that many voters, especially in states like California, are furious over what they view as a blatant power grab by Trump and Texas Republicans. In any society, So here's the million-dollar question that should keep every American awake at night. When elected officials feel compelled to flee their own state to protect democracy, and when federal law enforcement might be used to hunt them down, what does that say about the health of our democratic institutions? Are these Texas Democrats heroes defending democracy against an authoritarian power grab? Or are they simply sore losers, abandoning their constitutional duties? Is Trump's mid-decade redistricting plan a legitimate exercise of political power? Or is it a Texas governor's legal battle, removing House Den Chair Gene Wu? Imagine a political showdown so intense that it could redefine the future of Texas. This is not just a power struggle. It's a battle for the very soul of representation in the Lone Star State. Governor Greg Abbott has taken a dramatic step, asking the Texas Supreme Court to remove Representative Gene Wu, the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. But here's where it gets controversial. The move comes just hours after Attorney General Ken Paxton made a similar threat, but with a twist. Paxton won't ask the courts to remove lawmakers until Friday, the next scheduled convening of the House. Abbott, however, wants a ruling by Thursday at 5 p.m. Why the rush? And this is the part most people miss. The stakes are incredibly high, and the political maneuvering is as complex as it is fascinating. Let's dive in. The lawsuit filed by Abbott's office targets Wu, who is in his first session as the House Democratic chair. Wu is one of over 50 Democrats who left the state on Sunday to prevent the Texas House from passing a redistricting map that would favor Republicans. The Democrats' protest is against a rare mid-decade redistricting effort, one that former President Donald Trump pushed for to give Republicans a better shot at controlling the U.S. House of Representatives in the 2026 midterm elections. The Democrats' actions have sparked a series of dramatic events. House Speaker Dustin Burrows, a Republican from Lubbock, signed civil warrants on Monday, empowering state police to detain the absent Democrats. Senator John Cornyn even sent a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, asking for an investigation into the Democrats who fled the state. On Tuesday, Burrows adjourned the House until Friday at 9 a.m., citing the lack of a quorum for the second consecutive day. With Republicans holding a clear majority, Democrats had few options to block the map. Dozens of them fled to Chicago, New York, and Massachusetts, hoping to run out the clock on the special session. Abbott has been unyielding, stating that the Democrats' actions amount to a willful refusal to return to their duties. Texas House Democrats abandoned their duty to Texans, and there must be consequences, Abbott declared in a statement. The governor's lawsuit argues that the future of Texas is at stake, warning that if representatives can choose not to show up, Texans won't have a representative government. But Democrats see it differently. Representative Chris Turner of Grand Prairie called Abbott's move undemocratic, saying, "We still have separation of powers. As much as Abbott wants to be a dictator, he's just a governor." Representative James Tallarico of Austin went further, accusing Abbott of trying to remove elected representatives from office, a move he sees as consistent with the governor's redistricting efforts. "To me, it is just Republicans telling on themselves," Tallarico said. "This was always the motive. House Democrats in Illinois have framed their actions as a fight for democracy, a stand against what they see as authoritarianism. They've even called on governors in liberal states to consider retaliatory gerrymanders to counter any Republican gains in Texas." Meanwhile, Republicans at the Capitol have accused Democrats of taking orders from Washington operatives and prioritizing politics over assisting flood victims in the Hill Country. The political drama in Texas is far from over. As the Supreme Court weighs Abbott's request, the future of Texas politics hangs in the balance. But what do you think? Is Abbott's move a necessary step to ensure representative government? Or is it a power grab that undermines democracy? The stage is set for a heated debate, and the outcome could shape the political landscape of Texas for years to come. So, what's your take? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And let's dive into this political maelstrom together.